Fam, what's good? This video is something like a part two to the last one. I started to talk about how having a thing is a state of being. You just don't get the thing or get the stuff and automatically become the person. No, you actually have to be it first before it shows up. Otherwise, you can get it, but because you're not the person who has it, you'll lose it. And that ties into this idea that the Bible, it puts it a particular way. But I believe this way is the way it puts it, it sounds like a law, right? It comes across sort of like a law of the universe in a sense. And it says, to the one who has, more will be given. And to the one who doesn't have, even what he does have will be taken from him. There's actually a second part on that first part. To the one who has, more will be given, and he will have an abundance. And again, to the one who doesn't have, even what he does have will be taken away. If you're unfamiliar, this law, right, this axiom comes out of the parable of the talents, right? There was a master who was going away on a far trip, and he had three of his servants who he had given this money to. To one servant he gave 5 talents, another one he gave 2 talents, to the other he gave 1 talent. The talent is not gifts or talents like we understand it. The talents are it's a weight, right? It's a measure of the money as we understand it. So 5 talents is an amount of weight. And so the one who had 5 talents went, made 5 more. The one who had 2 talents went, made 2 more. And the one who made 1 talent, or who had 1 talent, went and put it up under a tree or something. Fact of the matter is, he didn't do anything with it. And so finally, when the master returned, the one with 5 and the one with 2 brought him back. Like, hey, look what I did, bruh. And doubled the stacks. You feel me? And so the master, he was pleased with what they had done. But then he looked at the dude who didn't do anything with the talent, and he was tight. He was like, hey, get this guy out of here. Right? He called him like a wicked worker of iniquity. And that's where we get one of these ideas of hell from, but that's for another video. But when you look at it, right, what it said was, or what the master did say, he's like, before he threw old boy out, he's like, take his talent and give it to the one who had 5. Just skip right over old boy who had 2. Give it to the one who did the most with the most. To the one who has, more will be given, and he will have an abundance. To the one who doesn't have, even what he does have will be taken away. On the surface, I get it. It doesn't seem quite fair. Doesn't seem like a situation that we'd want to be a part of. But this is how the universe works, is it not? We talk about sowing and reaping. We talk about the law of compensation, right? This is another branch of these ideas. So what does it mean when it says that the one who has, more will be given? It is very simple. When your state of being aligns with a particular set of attributes, qualities, possessions, a state of living, that's what you will continue to have. That's what you will have, and that's what you will have more of. And when you don't have a thing, right, to the one who doesn't have, right, when you're living in a state of lack, when you're living in a state of wantedness, when you're constantly struggling to find out where your next is coming from, you haven't shifted to recognizing that, okay, we're good. Even when things aren't good, you're still good. When you haven't made that shift just yet, and it's not a point of judgment, right? It's just an observation. When that shift hasn't been made, you typically notice what you don't have, which results in what? You not having more. Because we talk about it all the time. Where your attention goes, energy flows. And if your attention and energy are stuck on, I don't have this, I can't get that, I don't know how this is going to happen, or this isn't going to happen for me, we're losing that, instead of, oh, this is what I have today. Oh, I got this today. I have breath. Even the bare minimum sometimes creates a beautiful state of gratitude that triggers an increase into our life. But we have to shift from I can't, it's not enough. That lacking mindset only produces more lack, which results in even what you do have being taken away. It's an interesting concept, but I've seen it work out in my life in a strange way once before. Um, my wife and I, we had been building our emergency fund, right? And like they say, you should have at least $1,000 set aside in an emergency fund for a rainy day. And so we had that. And we had it in there for like 3 or 4 months, right? We felt really good about ourselves. But then one day we had an opportunity to enroll my oldest son in like these online coding classes. And it was something like $950. So we went ahead, like we pulled it out of the emergency savings to take care of it, right? Tell me why the next morning I go out to my car and the car won't start. It was just dead. Wasn't the alternator or the back. We don't know. I don't remember what it was, but all I know is the car wouldn't start the very next day. And as I was sitting there with it, I'm like, I can't believe this. And then my mind was triggered, and I thought back to like, oh man, we just paid all this money for my son's class, and now the car went. And I was like, oh man, what was that money for? Oh yeah, an emergency. And so in a weird way, and this is how I interpreted it, right? Because we were preparing for a rainy day or an emergency, when something would go, right? We were prepared for something to go. Pay attention to this. We went on ahead and used that money. And what I believe it did was that it triggered the universe into creating a situation now where that money was supposed to be used. It's an interesting idea, but I think if you sit with it, it'll make more sense, right? We were preparing for a rainy day. That money was set aside. Our minds create our experience. We spent the emergency money on a non-emergency, which triggered the universe creating an emergency, just so the funds weren't wasted. It's weird, right? But what I'm not saying is you shouldn't have, savings or anything like that. But I will tell you, my wife and I don't have an emergency fund anymore. I'll tell you that. But understanding that when you expect lack and limitation, that's what you get. So that's what it means when it says even what you to the one who doesn't have, right? The one who is lacking, even what they do have will be taken from them, because when you're focused on lack, you get more lack. However, to the one who has, more will be given. When you have abundance, when you have peace, when you have joy, you get more peace, abundance, more joy. And all of those qualities are actually what we're looking for. We're not looking for money. We're not looking for wealth in that sense. We're not looking for the physical money stuff. We want the peace that it will bring. And all of those states of being are self-generated. You generate peace by focusing on the stillness right now of this present moment. You generate abundance by focusing on the abundance that life itself is. Like right now, if you're viewing this, you're either on a handheld device or a computer somewhere in the world receiving signals off of satellites in space. It's not a cheap operation. So simply for you to be watching this video in this moment, you're a part of a flow of abundance beyond your comprehension. But you're so stuck on the appearance of lack in your current situation that you're overlooking the abundance that's right in front of you. Literally probably about to fall on your face as you're watching this laying in bed, knowing how bad blue light is for you before you go to sleep. But I'm not judging you. It is what it is. So when we can shift our perspective and our focus, right? When we can begin to shift our thinking, when we shift our being into that state of having a present moment reality, having this, being this, it is now. More of it shows up in our life. And it may not be an overnight thing. It may not just, snap of a finger and you wake up tomorrow with, $5,000 more dollars. It could. It really could. And the chances are you'll wake up more in a peaceful state. And out of that peaceful state, you'll be more open to creative ideas. And out of those creative ideas will come your inspiration for your service, for your business, for your product that you can then bring to the world, and they will reward you with the wealth that you seek. Let's elevate.